The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you.
Jesus went on with his disciples to the villages of Caesarea Philippi. And on the way he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" And they answered him, "John the Baptist, and others Elijah, and still others one of the prophets." And Jesus asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" And Peter answered him, "You are the Christ." And he sternly ordered them not to tell anyone about him. Then he began to teach them that the Son of Man must undergo great suffering and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. And he said all this quite openly. And Peter took Jesus aside and began to rebuke him. But turning and looking at his disciples, he rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are thinking not as God does, but as humans do." Jesus called the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "Whoever wants to become my follower, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. And whoever wants to save their life will lose it. And whoever loses their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord. There is a part of a familiar prayer that we all know, and it goes something like this. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Heard it before? Yes, you have. It is part of that prayer that Jesus himself gave us. It's called the Lord's Prayer. It seems to me that each time I go to confession, that the same weaknesses that surface again and again, and then I ask God for the for his forgiveness. And just as we ask God to forgive over and over again, we too have to forgive others over and over again. We must ask God to provide us with the strength to provide a forgiving heart. And this is another good reason why we attend Holy Mass. Jesus forgave those that kept hurting him, and God forgives us as we keep hurting him. And when we hurt God, and when we are hurt, let us turn to God and pray, as Jesus prayed while he was being nailed to the cross. Jesus prayed this following: "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And this is what distinguishes the Christian faith from any other religion. But how much should one forgive? To forgive is serious and at times difficult, if not impossible. And when we ask for forgiveness, it cannot be taken lightly without realizing that we are asking of the offended person we request them to forgive us. However, the hardest thing to say is, "I forgive you." Jesus tells us, no cross, no crown. There can be no Easter without a Good Friday. He came for a purpose, and his life unfolded, and it became clearer to him what his purpose was. It may seem strange to put it that way, but for my own spiritual growth, I like to think Jesus discovered more and more about his mission as time goes on. Don't forget, he did take on our humanity, and I would like to be slightly uncomfortable if with someone who knew exactly every detail of life well in advance. Many of our sins of omission in life are the result of our fear in the face up to something, unsure what it will cost. We want to get to Easter and bypass the Good Good Friday. But this cannot be done. No cross, no crown.